In the small village of Porto Sereno, where the waves of the sea met the golden sand, lived an old fisherman named Joaquim. Known to all as a man of unwavering faith, Joaquim had calloused hands that told the story of a life dedicated to the sea and a soul filled with wisdom. People would gather around his wooden house by the sea, where he shared stories of his life that not only entertained but also inspired everyone to trust in God, even amidst life storms. From a young age, Joaquim faced challenges. Growing up in a humble family, he learned early on the value of hard work and perseverance. His childhood memories were filled with teachings from his father, who was also a fisherman. He clearly remembered the day when, at just 10 years old, he accompanied his father on a fishing trip for the first time. The waves were high, and the sky was overcast, but his father would say, "God is with us, son. If we trust, we will always come home." This phrase became engraved in Joaquim's mind, a motto that would guide him throughout his life. As Joaquim grew, his passion for fishing intensified. He became more experienced, navigating treacherous and challenging waters. Each day at sea was a new adventure, and he believed that every wave had a lesson to teach. Even when the nets came up empty, Joaquim never failed to thank God. "He always has a plan," he would say, gazing at the horizon. One morning, as the sun rose, painting the sky in shades of orange, Joaquim prepared for another day of fishing. The waters were calm, and he felt hopeful. However, as the day progressed, dark clouds began to gather on the horizon. Instead of turning back, Joaquim decided to trust in God. "Thy will be done," he murmured to himself, casting his nets once more. When the storm finally hit, the waves grew high and the wind howled. Joaquim's small boat rocked violently, and he felt small before the power of nature. But amid the chaos, he remembered his father's words. He began to pray, asking God for protection. His unwavering faith made him believe that no matter how difficult the situation, God would always be by his side. After hours of battling the storm, Joaquim finally saw a light in the distance. It was the lighthouse on the coast, guiding him back to safety. When he finally reached the harbor, exhausted and soaked, he thanked God for his protection. This experience not only reinforced his faith but also became a story he would tell to inspire others. Years went by, and Joaquim became a storyteller in the village. Children and adults gathered around him, eager to hear more about his adventures at sea. He always emphasized the importance of trusting in God, even in life's storms. "Faith," he would say, "is like a boat on a choppy sea. If we have a firm anchor, we will not be swept away by the currents." Nights were especially magical when Joaquim shared his stories under the starry sky. With the sound of the waves in the background, he spoke of how faith had guided him through difficult moments. "There was a time I lost everything," he would begin, his voice deep and soothing. "My house was taken by a storm, and I didn't know how to start over. But it was in that moment that I found my true strength in God." One afternoon, during one of his tales, a young woman named Clara approached him, tears in her eyes. She was going through a tough time in her life, facing her mother's illness and uncertainties about the future. Joaquim listened attentively, and after she shared her story, he opened up about one of his deepest experiences. "Once, I lost a friend during a storm at sea. The pain was unbearable, and I questioned if I could still trust in God. But even in sadness, I found strength in His promises. I learned that God never abandons us, even in the darkest hours." Clara listened closely, and with every word Joaquim spoke, she felt her heart being consoled. After that encounter, Joaquim and Clara developed a special friendship. She began to help him with fishing activities, and in return, he taught her about the importance of faith. Joaquim always said, "Faith is not the absence of doubt, but the choice to believe even when things get tough." The bond between them grew, and Joaquim decided to take Clara on one of his fishing trips. "Today, you will learn the art of fishing with faith," he said, winking. On the boat, Joaquim taught Clara about the patience needed in fishing, explaining that, just like in life, sometimes we have to wait for the blessing. They cast their nets together, and Joachim began to tell the story of a miracle he witnessed when he was younger, when the catch was so abundant that it felt like a divine gift. The sea was calm, and their connection deepened with each passing day. They talked about dreams, challenges, and the importance of community. Joachim always emphasized that faith is something we should share, and together they decided to create a group in the community where everyone could come together to talk about their struggles and victories. Thus, Clara, with Joachim's support, organized regular meetings. The idea was simple: everyone could share their stories, their prayers, and how faith had helped them face life's storms. The village, which once seemed isolated, began to flourish with hope and encouragement. People started to gather, strengthening bonds and learning that, like the sea, life has its storms, but it also brings calm. The meetings became a success, attracting not only locals but also visitors from nearby villages. Joachim was always present, telling stories and encouraging everyone to keep the faith. "Remember, in every storm, there is a lesson to be learned," he would say with a smile. One afternoon, as they watched the sunset on the beach, Clara turned to Joachim and said, "Thank you for showing me the way. Your faith gave me hope when everything seemed lost." Joachim smiled, tears of gratitude filling his eyes. "Remember, Clara, true hope comes from trusting in God, even when we don't understand what's happening. We are all fishermen of faith, casting our nets in the hope of finding God's light amid the darkness." As time passed, Joachim's life became more intertwined with the community. He became a mentor not only to Clara but to many young people seeking comfort and direction. Joachim always emphasized that love and faith were like the waves of the sea, always present, always renewing. One evening, as everyone gathered for a celebration by the sea, Joachim took the floor. "Today, we celebrate not just fishing, but the life that God has given us. Each of us is a testament to His love, and together, we are stronger." Applause echoed on the sand, and Clara felt a wave of gratitude. She realized that through her friendship with Joachim, she had found not only a mentor but a family. Over the years, Joachim became a legend in the village, his stories and teachings passed down from generation to generation. He never stopped fishing, but his greatest catches were the lives he touched with his faith and love. Clara, now an adult with her own family, continued to pass on Joachim's teachings to her children, just as he had done with her. In every act of kindness, in every moment of prayer, the story of the old fisherman would become a legacy of faith and hope, reminder that even in the most intense storms, God's light always shines, guiding us back home. And so, in Porto Sereno, the fisherman's song would echo for a long time, where each wave brought with it a new story, a new hope, and the certainty that together, they could face any storm.